Hello, I'm CGTN's Paulo Cabral bringing you the highlights of COP30 in the Amazon. But before we get into the negotiations inside the venue, let's start with what really set the tone here this weekend, the streets. Belém saw its biggest demonstration of this COP so far. Tens of thousands of people came out for what organizers called the Great People's March. Indigenous communities, young activists, riverside dwellers, quilombolas, a huge and diverse crowd, all demanding climate justice, land protection, and a move away from fossil fuels.
Mulheres, jovens, indígenas, ribeirinhos, quilombolas, para juntos pedir justiça social e demarcação das terras indígenas. Nossa terra, nossa floresta não é mercadoria. Respeito à natureza e os povos que vivem na floresta. Demarcação já!
Sim, é um lugar para a gente marchar, para desenhar o mapa do caminho que precisa sair dessa COP, rumo à transição do fim do desmatamento, do fim do uso de combustível fóssil.
And all of this happened under tight security after two moments last week when indigenous groups blocked the access to the COP30 venue. They demanded to be heard by negotiators. Inside the blue zone, though, week one ended on a surprisingly positive note. Countries agreed on the agenda very quickly, something many thought would drag on. To understand why that matters and what it could mean for week two, I spoke to researcher Cynthia Leone from Clima Info.
Yeah, this has been a very atypical COP, I would say. To start with, we never adopt an agenda as fast as this COP. So we knew this conversation would be very strong here, and most of the specialists were expecting an agenda fight that could last for days. And in fact, we adopt the agenda in 30 minutes. So we have nothing to disturb, nothing to distract the negotiations. We have 2 full weeks of negotiations with the agenda ready to be implemented and discussed. Yeah, it's been a completely atypical COP, but so far it's proving being, with some progress.
It's good that you have brought this idea that there are good things happening. I mean, you seem more optimistic than most people were seeing at the beginning of the conference. So do you think we might have it ending the last week with important agreements? I mean, do you think this optimism, this good mood might remain to the end?
Yeah, one is important is the political call we have here in Belém at the Leader Summit and on the first day of COP. Lula, the president of Brazil, he called for a roadmap to end dependency on the fossil fuel. So how is COP30 respond to this call? This is how we are trying to figure out if this COP could have a happy ending.
One thing traditional populations, indigenous populations have been saying is that they want their voices to be heard inside the blue zone by the negotiators, the authorities. Is that happening? Are their voices getting there?
I think that was, quite powerful. I think people seeing that they took the time to come from the center of this big state to come here in Belém and say, we need to be listened to. I think this had created a very strong impression. And to be frank, I think the delegates needed that. I think they need to connect with the outside world, not inside the negotiations alone. So my sense is that they had a wake-up call, and now they are trying to figure out how can respond what the real people is saying.
So that's where things stand as COP30 heads into week two, a negotiating table that moved faster than expected and streets full of people pushing for urgency. The big question now is whether these two forces, the politics inside and the pressure outside, can come together for a meaningful outcome.